Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Hyperion Hub, your meeting place for all things Disney. Now your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Hyperion Hub. I'm John Alois and joined by Sean Degenhart.
What's up?
And John Redling Schaefer.
Hello there.
We hope you're having a great week. We like to start things off with our Disney View, but first I want to let you know that we are on all major social media platforms. That would include Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter, we're at Hub Hyperion. You can email us also at podcast@thehyperionhub.com. You can record yourself and send a message to us as well, and we might play it on the show.
Are we on MySpace too?
I'll have to check that and see if our account still exists there.
Who are our top 5 friends this week? Yes.
Let's kick it off with our Disney views. And we're going to go around the room here and talk about our favorite Disney live action movie and animated movie. And I'm not talking about the Disney family. I'm not speaking of Lucasfilm and Pixar and all the others. Just Disney. And why don't we start it off? Let's hold on a second. John, are you...
You can't change the rules. What the...
You have a Pixar... your live action is A New Hope, isn't it?
No, certainly not. But man,
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that you had Pixar. Or what do you have? What is your...
I don't think it is. No, it's not. I just... For a brief, but all of a sudden there were all these qualifiers, and it was like, wait, huh? What?
Why don't we start it off with John? What do you got, John? What's your top live action film?
I'm gonna throw you a curveball. My top animated is Zootopia, and the reason why, it's newer. I understand that there's plenty of other classic movies that I do enjoy and love, but it's the message of Zootopia. You know, not everybody's who you think they are. And it's okay to be inclusive. It's a kumbaya movie. At the end, you root for the little guy, and sometimes there's a curveball in the end, too. So which is the little guy you root for? In the end, you just can't beat the message that it gives you.
And no qualifiers, by the way. I don't care what your favorite movie is. It's your favorite movie. You're not wrong. Do you want to tell us your favorite live action?
You know, they're all great. I'll let you guys kind of debate maybe what your favorite is. I'm looking forward to some of the new projects. I'm just rethinking, you know, you hear The Little Mermaid is coming, and you're starting to hear some potential cast members for that. Honestly, I've heard that through Disney Plus, there's going to be a live-action Pinocchio. Robert Zemeckis is going to be involved in that project.
Yeah, with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is Geppetto, yeah.
Right, it's just going to be incredible. So, you know, of course, you guys are going to mention ones, and I'm not going to say I don't like them, but I'm more excited for the upcoming project. So it's a sellout answer, but I think there's more exciting stuff to come.
Sean?
Okay, I'm the traditionalist, so I think my animated's going to have to be a tie with Snow White, still the fairest in the land, and Beauty and the Beast. I think that was a pinnacle with animation, music, beautiful storytelling. So those are my ties for animated. Live action is going to have to be Mary Poppins, no doubt at all.
I had a feeling. The music, everything about Mary Poppins, just...
It's practically perfect. Yeah.
And I don't disagree with you with Snow White and Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast, first animated film nominated for Best Picture. So very historic. And Snow White, first animated film. So can't go wrong there. I'm going to go classic on my animated film with Pinocchio. Everything about it. It's almost a flawless movie. It's beautiful, first of all. They utilize the multiplane camera perfectly. I love the music, and it has my favorite Disney song, and I'm speaking about Hi Diddly Dee. I'm just kidding. I'm talking about When You Wish Upon a Star, and just total classic Disney. And then my favorite live action, just above Mary Poppins for me, is Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Amazing performance by Johnny Depp, and created this unbelievable character when it took a side turn and it gave us that supernatural aspect to it, and I was blown away. Love it. So those are our favorites.
Now, wait a minute, John. Do you realize that your animated film has smoking and truancy and lying in it?
I do. And, I was talking about this movie last night with my family, and it freaks them all out, especially the scene when, the bad little boys become donkeys on
It's
Pleasure
terrifying.
Island.
The way they work those shadows, yeah.
But it's beautiful. It is like a classic 1940s horror film at times.
Mm-hmm.
It has those things in it, but Disney made movies for everybody, not just young children. So you just have to. It's a learning moment. It's a teachable moment, right?
There you go.
Just like the security guard at Pixar tried to teach you about trespass laws. Yes.
He was a really nice guy, and he told me everybody's watching me in there. So hey, how about that? I got Pixar to watch me for a change.
You nailed the lob. Well done.
We'd love to know what your favorite Disney anything is. Go ahead and email us at podcast@thehyperionhub.com. On to our main topic, and we had a Hyperion Hubber. Is that what we're called? Hyperion Hubber?
I guess we are now.
Should we vote on that?
I think we want to give that more thought.
We had a hub member. How about that?
Our wives can call us the Hyperion Hubs.
Oh, no.
Wow.
There's going to be a T-shirt now. Thanks a lot, Sean.
King of the dad jokes. We had one of our members go to Walt Disney World recently, and he has a trip report for us. John, did you have a great time?
Absolutely. Period. That's my trip report. No, just kidding. I mean, guys, obviously, this is not meant to be controversial. Over the holidays, we did make the decision. We had a bunch of DVC points expiring, and we made, a very grown-up decision. If we needed or wanted to go somewhere, the best place for us, we thought, to get away was to the Disney bubble. And so we did. We drove. And the goal there was to try to make as few stops as possible. Something I never contemplated before on past trips. We had a pretty large cooler, and we made ourselves lunch sandwiches and dinner. My wife made plenty of pasta that we could cool. And so really we stopped maybe once or twice at a rest area each day, and the kids did fantastic. We got there, we felt safe the whole way, and then certainly when we got there, we did too. It was a unique trip. There's no other way to say it. I honestly feel that, Disney is doing the best that they can to make it as magical. It's not going to be the same, and may not be the same for a while, but they certainly are trying to make it as magical as possible. Now, with that being said, obviously this trip was anything from ordinary. Perhaps to my younger daughter, Ainsley, the biggest concern she had was pretty well put in her own words.
I think having to wait in the standby lines, since I like using fast passes.
So the first world problem of being amongst the minions and having to get in that way. So, obviously you can tell one of my daughters is a one percenter facing some very difficult challenges. But we were so blessed to be there during one of my favorite times. The holidays are just truly special. Yes, there are some differences. The cavalcade, of characters versus actual meet and greets. But you simply can't beat the decorations. My oldest daughter has a particular favorite.
The best part was being in the heat, being in the Disney parks, seeing all the decorations, and going to 3 different resorts.
Well, we did this time just because of availability, especially over the holidays. But if you had to pick, seeing the parks in normal decor, Halloween, or Christmas, what's your favorite?
Christmas by far.
Yeah, because there are trees in the parks, but also the resorts. Did you have a favorite Christmas tree that you saw there?
Honestly, the contemporary one was my favorite. It was very symmetrical.
It's one of the most beautiful trees at the parks in Christmas, I agree. So our goal was to do more park-heavy visits the first week, and then kind of do our own thing the second week. You know, as DVC members, we're fortunate that we can stay at a resort that has a kitchen, that has its own living quarters, that really doesn't have a common area. And so our second week we did that. And I will say that Old Key West has been a favorite of mine for a while, but it truly is the ideal place to stay in this type of situation. Our first week we stayed at Bay Lake Tower, which is right next to Magic Kingdom. We could walk right over. That was great. But for the second week to kind of quasi-quarantine and do our own thing in the 80-degree weather, Old Key West was ideal. And part of that was the fact that Old Key West is broken up into various clusters. Even my youngest child, my son, Dalton, had some comments about what was great about staying at Old Key West. What about the pools? Just getting to swim in December and January?
Yep.
Did you like the slides?
Yep.
Okay, what was your favorite pool?
My favorite pool was the second one at Old Key West.
The smaller one by ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's neat about that is Old Key West actually, is a huge resort, the original DVC resort. And throughout there's the main pool, and then there are a couple of other what we'll call satellite pools. And there were a couple of days when it was just us or maybe one or two other people on the other end, right?
Yeah.
And I suppose that the grocery delivery there, the chance to kind of do your own thing, it was great. Now, am I going to say that whole week we were perfect angels, or did we sneak away maybe once or twice to go see one particular area again that we wanted to hit before we left? Great. But, if I had to say the best part, we've talked about this before, maybe doing a resort-only trip if at all possible. That second week was perfect. It was warm. We still got the scent of, oranges and palm trees. We were close if we wanted something. The mobile ordering was always a possibility. Olivia's or something like that at Old Key West, you could just go pick up like you do here, and we really just kind of lived the life we were living or are living here, going out when we needed to, getting meals, having groceries, picked up. We just kind of transplanted ourselves down there. Now, to my older son, the biggest shock or the biggest change, I'll let him put it into his own words.
My favorite part might have been the views that we got.
From our rooms?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's good to see it once again.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the castle and its new colors?
I did not expect that.
Fair enough.
Those colors are jarring, and I think I'm still getting used to them.
That is the best way to say it, John. But in the end, it was different. I sent you pictures of all the disclaimers, all the signage. Everywhere you turned, hand sanitizer stations, mask reminders over the loudspeaker, temperature checks going in. The plexiglass in the ride queues was interesting. Without the fast passes, yes, amongst the minions, we did our best to survive. But Small World, for example, every narrow path winding around the queue is plexiglass. Well, it's not even plexiglass; it's plastic sheeting. The monorail is divided. The buses are divided with various dividers, and so they are doing everything they can to make you feel safe. And honestly, all four of my children did feel that way. My wife even made some great points. Stephanie made some great points about safety. We all wanted to have a change of scenery, but in the end, I think she really, other than maybe worrying about some other folks and their behavior, for the most part, the cast members were there to support anyone who felt uncomfortable or concerned about the behavior of others, and it was quite the success.
Great. So tell us about transferring between hotels after 1 week. Is this something that you guys typically do? Was this an extended trip? What was normal about it?
What was normal about it is that we were going to stay one place, and then as different things got canceled or pushed back in terms of our everyday life here, we thought maybe we can add some days. The parks are allegedly between 25 and 35% capacity right now. We don't know what that means. it clearly wasn't your usual Christmas crowd. I know that for a fact. It was not even close. So we did, and ordinarily we stay one place. That's what we do. We have that for that duration, unless it's something unique or, man, there's a really good deal on one night at a poly bungalow. I can't afford to stay there for a week, but who knows? Sometimes there's a deal. But this instance, we just actually said, all right, we've got another. Let's extend it. So we found Old Key West, and we stayed there. Actually, our last 2 nights were at Beach Club, the villas at Beach Club, and I had never stayed there, and that gave the kids access to perhaps the most popular swimming hole on property there at Stormalong Bay that's shared with Yacht Club. So we didn't, veer off from our plan of still kind of quasi-quarantining amongst ourselves, but for New Year's Eve, we were actually at Beach Club. So transferring between the hotels, yeah, we drove. So that was us loading and unloading. But we kind of had centralized packing plans. We know who was in charge and did it right. It wasn't me. So we had a plan, and by the third time, we were pros at loading and unloading the vehicle.
So for that last week, you pretty much just stayed in-house at the resorts and just enjoyed kind of what the resorts had? And
yeah, that's right. And, again, did we maybe one day we got, because the boys want to ride the monorail as often as they can. All right, that's neat. But they love riding the buses. The transportation, anything they can do, that's what they love to do. So one day we took the bus over, and we then hopped on the monorail to to the Polynesian, so we could get a Dole Whip. And I got the lime soft serve. Whew, talk about tart. But, doing that and then going back to the Magic Kingdom, we rode the big boat at Transportation. And there was nobody on it because it was 10:30 in the morning. So everything we did was kind of around what we felt the peak or the non-peaks were. But other than that, yes, we stayed and kind of did our own thing for a week. And it was, sure, there were other people in the pool. I don't dispute that, but there were other people in the pool when we'd go down to the one local one here over the summer. So
have you done that before, where you have had an extended resort stay and didn't really hit the parks, or was this kind of a first time for that?
Not like this. Usually we still have, a fast pass to this or dinner reservations in the park somewhere. We did not, I'm trying to think, we did not eat inside at a restaurant this trip. We did not. We either mobile or carried out or made our own in the room. So this was the first time that we had a solid block of days where we didn't go into the parks. And, it wasn't bad. Now, I think we had knocked off all the big things that we wanted to do that first week. The girls were going to refuse to come home if we didn't go on Slinky Dog at night for the first time. They would not leave, until that happened. Full disclosure, I walked into this place called Galaxy's Edge while I was there. It was interesting.
Wow.
I looked at it. I kind of looked around and went, okay. And then I left. So I even have, my one big purchase was a $6 Diet Coke that is an orb that has it in some language that you guys probably read that I can't. But I bought it at Galaxy's Edge.
Arabesh.
There you go. See, I knew you knew. But that was in honor of you guys. So it really, it was a different vibe. It wasn't go, go, go. It was, hey, we're in Florida. Let's just chill out. And we'll hit the rides that we want. And honestly, you saw 45 minutes or 60 minutes on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It was maybe a half hour or 45 minutes. Because everything is so spaced out with the tape, I don't think even they have an accurate representation of how long you're going to stand in line.
So how are the kids with the fact that I'm at a Disney resort and I want to be doing this? I mean, I personally would be putting up a fight with my wife if we were resort bound and, 10 minutes from a park and not hitting them.
What helped? Weather. When it got warm, go play in the pool. That was huge. And my kids love swimming. And yes, there was a push. We did our best in the months and weeks leading up to it to say, hey, this is not going to be the usual trip. And we did a lot that first week. Don't get me wrong. I mean, at Bay Lake, we focused a lot on Magic Kingdom, obviously. The first day or so, towards the end, and then I did a little bleed over into Old Key West, Hollywood Studios, and then Epcot, But Honestly, we did other things. This sounds it's kind of hokey, but it was neat. One of our days over at Beach Club, we rode the Skyliner. That was our big thing that day, and that was fun. We had a perfectly spaced line. We got on, went over and saw Riviera. I hadn't seen it yet and wanted to go see the new DVC resort. And so we did other things. And yes, we weren't hunkered down in the room all day. But Old Key West, Beach Club, the villas, they also have their own satellite pools, is what I'll call them. And we were able to just sit and enjoy time together. There was maybe one other family in the Old Key West pool the 3 or 4 days we were there. So every time we're down there, we're also visited by a dear friend who's a cast member there, and he spoils the kids rotten. They both do, he and his wife, with Disney toys and all these collectibles that he can get at the secret cast member store that's over on Western Way that we've had the privilege of going in a few times with him. But we filled each day with something different that ordinarily, you're right, we would be in the parks every day. But this was a chance to go, and I can say that on January 1st, 2021, it was 80 degrees, and I was in a pool. Good enough for me.
Did they have normal activities at the resorts taking place? Could you rent Surrey bikes if you wanted to, or take advantage of some of the other things that go on at the hotels?
Yes and no. You mentioned the renting the bikes. Yes. There are various clubhouses or kids activities that you can do. Some of them they've kind of foregone just because if it's in close proximity or asking you to do a lot. One thing the kids like to do are the trivia things at the pools and things like that that the cast members may do. They were doing that. There were some crafts available. They still were doing, for the most part, movie nights, but a couple of the nights we were there the first week, it was so cold, they weren't doing some things. They actually went out and had covered the flowers and everything else because they had a frost warning, which around there is, sound the alarm and batten down the hatches.
So what was it like entering the park for the first time? Was it emotional for you guys? Did the kids, were they extra excited, or was everything kind of laid back?
I don't think anybody knew what to expect. We knew we were going to get to go. I will say this about, quite frankly, all of our children right now. They are showing a resilience that I don't think our generation is. I'll just be honest. Or the generation above us. Okay, I got to put on my mask and go somewhere. There was never a push. And you know what? We go put it on, we get to go into Magic Kingdom. And they did. And it was almost, it wasn't some massive existential moment, but there was a sense of calm. Where we're somewhere where we feel safe, where it's familiar, where it's not the same walls we've been staring at for 10 months. And I suppose you could have said that about it going anywhere else in the United States or the world, but obviously, other than the very jarring castle that's now at the end of that main street, it was a calming feeling, and I could see, obviously not their actual smiles, but the bounce in my children's steps once we got through the gate.
Highlight of the trip?
There's so many.
Sounds like the Skyliner.
Honestly, one of my favorite parts of the whole trip. It was so cool.
Had you been on them before?
Not that one. No,
Okay.
I was on the one back, was that the old days that you could ride in Magic Kingdom, where I thought
the Skyway,
where my mother had me by the collar to make sure I didn't jump out. Yes, that one. Favorite part, honestly, it was spending time. It's a beauty pageant answer, but it was spending time with the family at Disney without a stringent itinerary and agenda. That was beautiful. It allowed us to just take in where we were and enjoy, even with a teenager and a almost teenager, enjoy each other's company as best as you could.
That's great. Sounds like an awesome trip. Great report. And I'm so happy that we got to incorporate your family into the show.
I can tell you what my favorite part was, but really the boss of the family, my wife, did an excellent job of kind of summarizing why we went and what she really felt was important as an opportunity to do this as a family.
The best part of this trip was a change of scenery from the chaos that has been the past year and just spending some quality time in somewhere we love together.
So on any trip, you obviously have an absolute favorite part, and I know you love the holidays, and actually one of your children did comment about how she loved the decorations, so I won't tell you which one in case you want to give them favorite status in the will. But my point is absolute favorite, whether it be a hotel, a particular meal, a park, a ride, what wins for this trip?
Actually, what wins is kind of the experience of doing 4 new rides or attractions that we have never done as a family, because it was a different trip for us. We were not necessarily only doing the things we always do. We were open to new things. So the Carousel of Progress, Pirates of the Caribbean, Tiki Room, and Hall of Presidents. I think that was my favorite, doing something new after all these years going.
Well, and again, that doesn't say that we haven't been on those rides, but our first trips were with very young children. And so as they're older, or now see a commercial for Disney World with a particular song on it.
Correct.
Written by the Sherman Brothers. You can't help but watch them now as older children, especially our oldest two, really appreciating the Disney history. And so I think in the end, you said you'd do it again. I think if there's going to be a point where we ever feel unsafe, I think between you and the kids, you would certainly let us know. But I don't recall any of the kids telling me that at the trip. Do you?
No.
Yeah, it was a herd-like mentality, kind of the opposite of what we've seen elsewhere in society. It was people feeling comfortable enough to say, hey, make sure you follow the rules. And I think some of that is for your own safety, but yet at the same time, you don't want to put a cast member into a difficult situation where they'd have to confront them. And we've heard, off the record from some cast members about some very unpleasant experiences. So the better we can make their jobs, I think the better for us too.
Absolutely.
So honestly, John, I appreciate the opportunity to share this with you guys. And I'd like to think we left the parks in decent shape. I don't know. One of you and your family's heading down there soon?
Yeah, we're taking a trip in June, and I will be picking your brain for tips as we get closer. Because, just like you guys, this is going to be very different from anything we've ever experienced down in Walt Disney World. So, great report. We appreciate it. And like I said, great to get your family on here as well. Once again, please email us if you have any tips and tricks for the parks or show ideas. You can email us at podcast@thehyperionhub.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're at Hub Hyperion, maybe MySpace.
Well, I think it's more important. It's more important for us to get a firm foothold into TikTok. That's our next goal.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great week.
We're glad you could join us. We'd love to hear from you. You can email or send us a recorded audio message at podcast@thehyperionhub.com. Find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The Hyperion Hub is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or its subsidiaries. We'll meet you next time at the Hyperion Hub.